Welcome in, episode 64, live. Ramie and Drew. I am Ramie Mackloff. That's Drew Flaggy. We're a couple of Milwaukee comedians. We talk about sports and whatever else might come to mind. It's been a long time, Drew. And by the way, we're on Facebook and YouTube. Still not on Twitter because you have to be verified. And Elon and Donald Trump crashed it earlier tonight anyway, so it doesn't even matter. But we are on YouTube and Facebook Live. You can subscribe, follow, like, rate, review on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. It's I feel like the last few shows I've said this. It's been a minute, Drew. How are you, buddy?
Well, yeah, we had a lot go on. We had Deadpool and Wolverine come out. We had State Fair come and go. The Brewers lost a bunch of games, and then they won a bunch of games.
State Fair. I missed the State Fair, and I haven't seen Deadpool and Wolverine. I haven't partaken in either one. And the fair is over, right? That's done.
Yeah, so one thing was a bloated absolute mess that's probably not going to save America, and the other one had funnel cakes. So,
you say you didn't like Deadpool Wolverine?
Here's what I'm going to say. Out of all three Deadpool movies, it's number 3.
Really? No, I'm not taking your word for it. I'm not believing you. I'm not letting you do this to me when going into the movie because I'm going to go see it soon. I should have already.
There are things, I'll admit that there are things that I like that are really bad. Ramie, you smoke. You like cigarettes? Yeah. Are they good? Sure. Are they good for you? No. Yeah, that's what Deadpool and Wolverine was. I
don't even enjoy it.
Oh, I enjoyed it. I loved it. I thought it was fun. It's a fucking terrible movie. It's an absolute.
I don't believe you. I'm going to go ahead and not believe you on this. Okay. And I will watch it, and then we will fight.
I have said this over and over again about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Over and over again. Those movies leverage the fact that they're built on everything that came before them. So when you're consistently changing the rules on how things worked that came before in previous movies, you're undercutting everything that happened. Like they've gotten to the point where there are things that they could do with these new movies where bringing back like Black Widow or bringing back Tony Stark totally makes sense because like, why the fuck wouldn't you go back 15 minutes before he snapped his fingers and have 2 Iron Mans in the same universe? Why wouldn't you just do that? Because timelines and realms, it doesn't matter. It's all time travel sucks. Back to the Future is the only one who did it normal. Even Terminator sucks with Back to the Future or time travel. It's all crap.
Terminator was great. I just rewatched Terminator 2 the other day. It was great.
Yeah,
great movie. Still
top tier movie. Terminator 1 and 2 are awesome.
Yeah.
And then everything after that is an absolute abomination.
What was the TV show? There was a TV show.
Sarah Connor Chronicles. Doesn't like Spike.
And I liked it.
Yeah, that was fun.
I liked it.
T3 was pretty bad.
I think it was on Fox.
Was it Fox or was it Spike?
I thought it was pretty good.
I thought it was on Spike around the same time as like they had like the Blade TV show that came out. Like they had like a Blade show, and people were all pissed off at Blade because like he had like a shaved head and everything, and had like the tattoos that went up on his head, and everyone was all mad about that. But it's like that was actually what Blade looked like in the comic. Yeah, that's what Blade looked like in the actual comic.
When you talk about undoing things and changing rules, dude, they did that. They did that in the comics, like this multiverse thing.
It doesn't mean it's good.
But it's nothing new, and
that doesn't matter. It doesn't mean it's good. Did I ever say because the comics did it, it's okay or it's good? No. Like,
so are you not happy about Robert Downey Jr. coming back?
No, it's stupid. Because he's not even going to be actual Doctor. He's not going to be Dr. Doom. He's going to be the infamous Iron Man, which is Tony Stark in a parallel universe that's possessed by Dr. Doom. And this is going to be their way. He's going to take his fucking mask. He's going to take his fucking mask off. And what he's going to do is they're going to go, Tony, is that you? And then he's going to go, ha! And he's going to kill one of the Avengers that no one gives a fuck about, like Ant-Man or Falcon or something like that. And they're going to go, Tony, how could you do that? And he's going to go, I'm Victor Von Doom. And he's not. And then what's going to end up happening is they're going to whack him in the head with some kind of MacGuffin thing. He's going to be like, oh, I'm Tony Stark. And, oh, why does Nick Fury have an eye patch? And then they're going to go like, oh, well, now we have Tony Stark back in our universe. And Robert Downey Jr. will play this part until he's 75.
See, I don't know that they'll do that. You don't know that they'll do that. And even if they did that, if they did it well, it'll be good. And they're bringing back the Russo brothers. They're bringing back the guy who wrote Endgame. Like, they're bringing back the people who made good movies, dude. They're going to make good movies.
Ramie, here's the thing. You just said...
Did you say Endgame wasn't good? I'm ending this podcast. No. And I don't just mean for tonight. I mean permanently. Did you just say Endgame wasn't good?
No, a lot of things...
Fuck right off, dude.
Endgame was great for wrapping up a lot of character arcs, but as far as logic and stuff, none of it makes sense. And it's objectively a pretty bad movie. Again, another movie that I really like. It's not a good movie. I like The Phantom Menace. I like Star Wars Episode 3. They're not good movies. There's things in them that I like enough that I'm like, all right, I can watch this and I don't hate it. They're not good. Like, I can McDonald's isn't good. I like McDonald's. You're allowed to like things that suck, but I can also acknowledge that they suck.
Endgame was a good movie. No, I don't care what you say. And you can't sit there with that stupid headband on and talk about anything not being good. You know what's not good is how
my hair's messed up because of wiffle ball.
That's what's not good. Oh, because
we weren't good tonight at wiffle ball.
Football?
We weren't good.
Well, that's much better. Oh.
But here's the thing. No, when you're like, when you straight up were like, well, they did it in the comics. I'm like, just because they did it in the comics doesn't mean it was good. It wasn't good when they did the infamous Iron Man story arc with Tony Stark from some other universe being Victor Von Doom's mind slave. And then they, like, that wasn't good either. But it's like, they're like, well, it was in the comics, so we
I don't know if you're talking about, we might be talking about different storylines. And the one that I read about, and I didn't know about this till they named Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom.
Well, that's crazy, because I knew about all this.
Victor Von Doom swapped brains with him when they were college classmates. It wasn't like so he physically swapped. Like, he took his brain out, he put it in Tony Stark. He took Tony Stark's brain out, put it in him, and then posed.
And you want to watch Robert Downey Jr. get a lobotomy? That's what you want. Sure. That's where we're at.
If they can make a good movie out of it, yeah. And I'm confident.
And what if they don't make a good movie out of it?
I'm excited about it. And
I'm not going to spoil Deadpool and Wolverine for you, but how long have I been saying that these movies are trash?
Yeah, don't.
How long have I been saying these movies are trash?
And some of them you're right about. Plenty of them you're right about.
I said a lot.
But you're wrong about Endgame.
Okay, fine.
But you're wrong about Endgame.
I'll give you. We should get together and watch Endgame, and we'll pause. It'll take all day because I'll pause every scene.
I don't want to. I don't want to sit there and have you fucking ruin it for me.
I'll yuck your yum on that.
You do this instead. I don't give a fuck. They made a good movie.
They made a movie that feels good to watch. Here's the thing. A lot of these movies are bad. Eternals is bad. Shang-Chi was not good. Do you remember the plot of Shang-Chi? Do you remember the plot?
I like Shang.
Can you sum up the plot in 4 sentences?
Vaguely. I don't remember.
No, you don't remember. That's a good movie. You don't remember that movie because it was such a good movie.
I don't remember a lot of shit, dude. I don't remember a lot of things.
It was such a good movie, you forgot it. Black Widow was bad. Everyone said Black Widow was bad. You know what happened with Black Widow? They called everybody sexist because no one liked Black Widow. No one liked the Turtles. Everybody was racist and bigots. They that's what Marvel and Disney said. It's like no one liked fucking Black Panther 2. No one remembers that movie. How the Queen of Wakanda.
I like that. That's a good movie.
The movie sucks too.
I like
there's
Black
so
Panther
many.
too.
Ant-Man Quantumania was the best, most consequential movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The Marvels was supposed to be extremely serious and pushing everything forward. And then that movie, they're like, oh, we had to rebrand it as being fun. All of these movies have been crap. and then they've done nothing but lash out at the fans who are like, this isn't good. And then they go, oh, the fans are all istophobes on every kind of front. And then all of a sudden, Deadpool and Wolverine comes out, and Deadpool gets to make a little joke and goes, hey, Wolverine, you're coming into the MCU. It's at a low point right now. It's like, oh, they're like, oh, ha. It's funny because critically, these movies haven't done well. At the box office, they haven't done very well. And now all of a sudden, Deadpool comes out and goes, fuckity fuck cunt. Now all of a sudden, oh, it's fun to say, but you called every single one of your audience members racist for the last 4 fucking years. And it's like,
I don't care about the culture war stuff, dude. Let's just talk about the movies. I don't give a fuck about any of that other stuff.
No,
I don't care about it. I don't care what Disney said. I don't care what people. Yes, you can. I do it all. I'm doing it right now. I do not give a fuck.
You can't, because
do not give one single fuck, Drew Flaggy.
Do you watch? Okay, you have Disney Plus. Do you watch all the Avengers Assembled or the Marvel Assembled things with the interviews of all the directors who have flat out said that they don't want to have these kind of people in their movies or this kind of person in their movies, or that they hate Donald Trump? Dude, no, Ramie, you can't do that, because when I'm sitting here criticizing what they're actually saying on these interviews about who they don't want to make movies for, who they don't want this to be their audience, and then they come out and say, and then people go, yeah, this movie was not very good, and then you find out it was made with specific agendas in mind. Yes, those movies are fucking bad, and it's because of that. And then they go, we made it with an agenda. The people we made it so it wasn't so they would watch it didn't like the movie, they didn't support it, and then we call them all bigots. That's the issue. Marvel has a fucking...
I didn't even know any of that. See, here's the thing.
But you didn't know that.
Yeah, but I don't want to. I don't want to watch the movie through the prism of all that. I just want to sit down and watch a fucking movie, dude, and go, that was a good movie, or that was a bad movie. That was good storytelling, or that was bad storytelling. That was good acting, or that was bad acting. That's all. Because all the other shit ruins it, dude. And everybody's trying to ruin it, and I'm fucking sick of it, dude. I'm just gonna watch movies.
It starts with the people running it. So if the Bucks go 82, if the Bucks go 82 or 0-82 this season, is that Doc Rivers' fault? Is that John Horst's fault? Or is it the people who are out there scoring points every night? Because with sports, it's top to bottom. Yeah, it's the actors. But you know what my problem has never been in any of the Marvel movies? It's never been the actors. Doctor Strange 2 wasn't bad because of Elizabeth Olsen and because of Benedict Cumberbatch. It was bad because of the people who wrote that movie, Michael Waldron. And then when you listen to Michael Waldron sit there, and Sam Raimi directed it, he didn't write it, for anybody who wants to correct me. Michael Waldron sat there and goes, yeah, that's just a case of us not knowing what to do with the script. And they put that on Disney Plus for you to watch about how did we make this fucking movie. And then you can go back and I didn't know what to do with the script. Oh, we were basically writing it as it went on. Bill Murray actually made fun of the people who made Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, because Bill Murray knows how to write a goddamn script, because he did it with Ghostbusters, and they sat there and talked about writing it on the fly and not knowing what they were going to do next and not knowing where they're going to go. And they put that on Disney Plus the same way that if you buy the Lord of the Rings collector's editions, that Peter Jackson and all of the actors and stuff sat there and talked about how much they love the source material, how much they wanted to keep it to J.R.R. Tolkien's, a vision for what he wanted, and they were leaving all of modern day politics and what they thought they wanted out of the movie. But then you go on Disney Plus and watch them talk about everything Star Wars, everything Marvel, and it's all our own. Yes, I watch that shit.
Why?
And it's because I'm like, why do I watch it? Because I'm like, this movie fucking sucked. I see on Twitter Disney lashing out at people. But it's their higher up.
I don't see Disney lashing out at people. I'm on the same Twitter you are. I don't see anybody. I don't see Disney lashing out at people. I don't watch these interviews, and I just turn on a movie and I go, that was a good movie, or that was a bad movie, and I'm not going to let all this other shit affect how I see these movies. You're watching movies through so many prisms,
through the meta,
and that you're not even seeing the movies anymore. You're seeing them through all these different prisms of what this guy said and what that guy said, and who's mad and who's blaming who, and all this other bullshit. Just watch a fucking movie, dude. Whatever happened to just sitting down and watching a fucking movie and then walking out and talking about whether it was good or whether it was bad. And that's it. That's it.
I did.
It can be that simple. Life can be that simple, Drew. You'll be happier when life is that simple.
When I saw Black Widow and I didn't like it. I thought it was a very stupid movie. Oh, you didn't see it? But I thought it was a very stupid movie. I thought it was bad. I thought that they completely destroyed what we know about Black Widow as a character in a movie after she had a great send-off in Endgame, first of all. And then everyone's sitting there saying, it's not good. And then it starts showing up in your Twitter feed because you search Marvel stuff. And you're sitting there watching this. And it's like, you see everyone defending this movie saying that everybody only hates this movie because they're sexist. Who hated Black Widow as a character? But then you sit there and you listen to the people who actually wrote the fucking movie, and they had legitimate you know that the bad guy Dreykov, he's based on Donald Trump. Cool. That's actually what they wrote.
Cool.
Okay, that's fine. That if you want to do that, that's totally fine.
Right.
But they wrote a specific character with such a fucking hatred for a real life human being that I don't even personally like. But they wrote it with that, and when they're like, their focus is to make such a caricature of a sexist pig that they made a whole fucking movie around it that made no goddamn sense. And in the process
now they did it. I didn't see the movie again. I didn't see it. They might have done a poor job of doing
it.
That's
a bad movie.
But social and political commentary in Marvel movies and in comic books is not something new. Like Stan Lee said that the X-Men was an allegory for the civil rights.
That was added later. Stan Lee never
said that. He did say that. Because I had this argument with a friend of mine, and I found the actual quote of him saying that. So I know he said that because I saw the quote of him saying that. This is nothing new, dude. This stuff has always been in there. Superman and Captain America both punched fucking Nazis in the face. You know what I mean? Like this sure. It's not new to inject this stuff into comic books or into storytelling of any kind. You watch The Boys because MAGA people just found out that the joke's been on them for 4 years in The Boys. This is not a new thing, dude. This happens across the board and has always happened across the board.
The Boys likes to teeter the line of being like, we're making fun of the left, and they're like, here's a little joke about the left, and then they're like, here's the right, and now it's like, look at the right. It's very... The Boys is not as subtle as they like to act like they are. And also, if The Boys...
This season was not subtle at all. This season was very heavy-handed, and I didn't mind it.
This season was pretty bad. Oh, okay, so you didn't mind it. So when Huey gets butt-fucked by Rape Batman, or whatever the hell that guy's name was, do you remember in season 1 a big part of it was the essay of Starlight, you know, with the Deep, and that was like a whole power dynamic thing. And again, if you listen to the people who wrote this, they talked a lot about how they had to handle it with a lot of care and sensitivity. But Huey, the day after his dad dies in season 4, gets butt fucked to a point where he didn't know his safe word, and that was a joke. Like, oh, that's
Didn't they stop it before it got to that point? I'm trying to remember the episode. Didn't they stop it before it got to that point?
Oh, it was so memorable. It was such a good story that it was memorable.
Dude, I have a terrible memory.
Yes, they stopped it because they weren't. But like, dude, the whole joke was that Huey was so uncomfortable and scared that he was about to get R-worded that they were like, oh, because like, isn't it crazy? And also their whole take on Batman, where he imprisons people to like benefit himself financially, is moronic. That is Seth Rogen idiocy right there, because Seth Rogen produces that stupid ass show. That is absolute Canadian socialist dipshittery, thinking that Batman is absolutely the person benefiting from private prisons. And they're like,
I think their point is Batman is wealthy, and there is a sector of wealthy people benefiting off the prison industry.
Right. And everybody that Batman arrests is like totally, I don't know, they're like poor people. Like I don't know.
No, that's not the point.
It's Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze is a world-renowned fucking scientist. Yeah, he was probably pretty poor. Hugo Strange that guy's a psychiatrist. Oh, the Joker literally burns money constantly because he has so much of it.
You're just gonna keep going and ignoring that I'm saying that's not the point.
The Scarecrow.
The point is that prison is big business. It's not the people they're locking up; it's the money that's being made off the people being in prison. Prison is big business.
And then their take on the Batcave, where it's like, oh, he keeps all of the evil doers. We've been doing this for 20 minutes.
The whole point of the boys is that they take it and like they put it in the real world where it's going to get tainted by things like capitalism and politics and egos and things like that, where it's not idealistic like comic books are, or often are, not always, but often are, because that's what would happen, because that's what happens to everything.
Captain America Winter Soldier was perfectly fine grounded in the real world of superheroes. That was a very real world. The Falcon's original suit was so like, oh, like that's like a piece of military tech that only 2 people had and one of them died using it. That was cool. Like, I love the Falcon suit in Winter Soldier. We should talk about sports now, because everybody tuned out probably. But like, no, it's like the boys is like, hey, you know what's crazy?
Jesus, we've done this for 20 minutes.
Do you know what would be insane in the boys if we did? It'd be crazy if we had these like evil superheroes, right? That were all corrupted by like power and like money. And then we took our normal protagonist who watched his girlfriend literally get killed by one of these people in the first episode, and then have to go through a court settlement with that and be paid hush money. And then 4 seasons later, we rape him with Batman. Wow, you're so fucking.
I like the show, and like I said, it's just taking the superhero idea and dropping it in the real world where things are. You can't deny that things are. What?
I would like if like Superman was just like an optimistic guy who didn't have to think about saving people during a flood like he did in the Zack Snyder Superman movie. Like, what if like Superman, how about instead of deconstructing Superman, it's been so long, how about we just get a Superman that's like inspiring? Like, would that be fucking crazy?
That'd be cool.
At this point?
That'd be cool. That's another way to do it. And that's a great way to do it. I love the Christopher Reeve Supermans in the 80s. That's what made me originally love superhero movies.
What if we made that instead of
That'd be great.
That'd be great. With dildos? Like, how about that?
Speaking of watch this transition.
Speaking of butt fucking, the
Brewers lost. Speaking of Superman and Captain America. Speaking of Superman and Captain America, LeBron James and Steph Curry brought home the gold for Team USA in the Olympics. I didn't watch not 1 minute of the Olympics, not basketball or anything else, Drew. There's another thing we probably disagree.
You didn't watch that white woman
you're not kidding. I did see that. I did see Twitter making fun of the Australian breakdancer, but I didn't watch not 1 minute of any Olympics.
That lady didn't have a good day out there, you know. She was Australian.
There is the theory out there that she knew exactly what she was doing. That she was just trying to get a trip to France out of her government, and did it and managed to do it by being, you know, the best breakdancer in Australia, which I guess isn't hard to do.
Yeah. I think everybody else who ever tries to breakdance there gets bit by their poison spiders that are constantly killing everybody. Like, don't they have in Australia? Yo, shouts out if anybody's in Australia right now watching this. Don't they have like bears that just drop out of like trees that just like fall on people and kill them? Isn't that like they got like falling bears? They're not koalas.
Do they? I don't think so. Do they? Where did you hear this?
I don't know. Probably another podcast about Australia.
Fair enough. But you were into. I saw you in the group chat. You were into the. I don't know if you watched any other Olympics, but you were into the Team USA basketball.
Yeah.
I think you said Steph Curry inspired you.
Dude, Steph Curry inspired me to go out there and start chewing on my mouth guard and shooting threes at the park. It was awesome. No, like, dude, like nice. I was pumped. I was pumped on Team USA, like winning, and like I was so much more pumped when Greece lost, so Giannis could just stop playing basketball. Like, dude, if you watch the final game, like, dude, like Nick Batum and And I was like, yeah, thank God Giannis didn't have to play these fucking animals. Cause like this was I was like the Bucks, like I was like, I would have been pissed off if Giannis got hurt. And I'm like, I
Yeah,
don't know who on Team USA wasn't cutting their fingernails. I'm looking at Kevin Durant probably, but holy shit, those guys were getting scratched up. Like Batum was bleeding like all down his face. Wemby had like just a cut like on his chest. Like, dude, those guys were getting raked, and I'm like, Giannis ain't going against them because they don't like
dude.
Giannis. So,
I feel bad saying it because he's so happy playing, and I put this in air quotes, for his country. He said there's nothing like it.
yeah,
And he's really happy doing it and he loves doing it. So I hate to say it because I love Giannis and I want Giannis to be happy. I want Giannis to do what makes Giannis happy. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I want Giannis to hold up more Larry O'Brien trophies and more MVP trophies. And I don't want him putting any more miles on his legs and on his body, especially with the style of play that he has, then he has to. I want to see him dunking for the Milwaukee Bucks and nobody else, quite frankly. And I know these guys, they play in the off season, like they don't just walk on the court when the season starts because they got to stay tuned up. They got to keep their game sharp and everything. So it's not that much more risk, but there's a level of intensity and competition in the Olympics when you're quote unquote playing for your country that isn't in a practice game where you're running with some other NBA guys. You know what I mean? I don't want him doing it. I hate saying it. I feel bad for saying it. The dude loves doing it, but I don't want to see it. I want a healthy Giannis in a Bucks uniform for 82 games in the playoff run.
the most fun I had watching was Team USA because we didn't have any Bucks on that roster.
Yeah,
If this was like 3 years ago when Middleton was on there, when it was Middleton and Holiday, I didn't like that either because they needed to be coming back. And this year, as soon as Greece lost, I was tweeting at Steve Kerr. I'm like, bro, you got to get Jason Tatum more minutes in there. You got to let him play. He's goated. That guy is. He needs 44 minutes a night. I think it would be like 38 because I think they only play 40 minutes, 10-minute quarters in the Olympics. But that's the metric system. I don't know how time works over there.
yeah.
But I was like, yeah, you got to get Jason Tatum more minutes. We got to get him. He's got to bear the load. Also, a nice thing though, Tyrese Halliburton shouts out, you contributed nothing and you got a gold medal. That's good. Good for you. You skip your way back to fucking Oshkosh.
Yeah,
nice.
But they did Jason Tatum dirty, dude. I know we like to give Jason Tatum a hard time on this show. They did him dirty. Look, he's overrated. I'll admit that. I'll agree with you on that. And he's playing on a roster of the best players in the world. Like minutes, there aren't a lot of minutes to spare when you look at a roster like that. But there were more minutes for Jason Tatum than what Steve Kerr gave him. There was something there that goes beyond just smart rotations and matchups and shit like that. You don't just DNP Jason Tatum game after game after game and then give him some pity minutes in the gold medal game when you're up already. That's he got done dirty, dude, and that was not cool by Steve Kerr. He could have been home with his family. You know what I mean? Like he did. Yeah, he could have been home with his family instead of wasting his time going over there to be a practice dump for LeBron and Steph and KD. There were minutes to be had for Jason Tatum. I thought that they did him wrong.
Yeah, but did you ever consider the fact that Kobe played in the Olympics?
What's that got to do with anything?
Because Jason Tatum loves.
Yeah,
he's got you. No, like, so here's the thing. Like, yeah, Tatum probably, honestly, for 5 minutes in the fourth quarter against France, probably could have gotten some minutes because LeBron looked tired and they were really forcing the ball to LeBron until Steph Curry just hit pure 2K takeover mode. He had the fire ring beneath him. He had the little bullseye thing. He couldn't miss that last minute and a half. Durant was playing well, but like LeBron looked just tired. And I mean, some of it's age, but I mean, the amount of minutes that LeBron played in these Olympics, this was kind of his last dance for this. And really, like, they were almost, it seemed like Steve Kerr was willing to allow LeBron to let them not win a gold medal for his own glory, which was annoying because
Yeah.
Tatum, as much as I like to pick on Jason Tatum, probably could have came in and been a better team player in those minutes that LeBron was super tired. I'm not saying you close with Jason Tatum because I would have absolutely rather had LeBron out there closing, especially defensively.
Yeah.
But like, dude, I'm just gonna say like LeBron needed a breather at a certain point because he turned the ball over, made some very bad decisions with the ball. He tried to ISO too much, like towards the end. And Steph Curry bailed him out on 2 3-pointers, and then Steph hit 2 more. Like, but I mean, it was one of those things where I was like, are we really LeBron try to drive and win this game?
Does this change anything about the because I don't care about the Olympics, so for me it really doesn't move the needle. But like I hear people saying like, oh, this Olympic performance put Steph Curry into the top 10 all-time players. Or
I
saw Kendrick Perkins, who we love on this show, say that with this gold medal, LeBron passes Michael Jordan. Like this doesn't do a lot this doesn't put a lot in the legacy bucket for me for these guys, dude, because it's harder to win a championship in the NBA than it is to win a gold medal in the Olympics. Like they've done harder things already in their career. While I'm not saying I'm not impressed, I'm not as impressed as other things that they've done.
So LeBron lost in Olympics, given he was like a rookie or something. It was like his first or second year. When they lost the first time, and then they had the Redeem Team, which is an awesome documentary, by the way. But he won that one where Kobe was the vet, and he was kind of the next in line guy. And then they've won every year since. LeBron, I don't think that this gold medal moves him up, but I think it does move Steph Curry up because of what Steph Curry did the last 2 games. He had like 36 points against Serbia, and it was like all 3-pointers, which was wild.
I did see the highlights of him going off, and that was,
he had 9 threes. He had 9 threes against Serbia. That's what he had 36 points. And then this last game again, he just take over fourth quarter. Steph was the one who willed them to that win. France wasn't going away. They were playing tough. I mean, they were really in it, especially being in France. That was no, I think Steph Curry, I would be comfortable putting him in my top 10 of all time. I don't think it moves LeBron up. I mean,
I'd have to think about it. He's probably in there.
If I got to look at the body of work with LeBron, it's really hard for me to not put him at probably number 2. I'm still going Jordan 1, just out of reputation and sheer will.
Oh, yeah. He's solid. He's solidly number 2 for me. He's firmly number 2 for me.
I've really wanted to put Kobe as number 2 because I just always loved Kobe, but like I think LeBron's probably realistically number 2, and Kobe might be 3, and then you're gonna go with like Magic and Kareem and like.
I'm gonna say this, and then we're gonna move on.
But yeah, I think
I'm gonna say this. I'm not gonna argue over it. I'm gonna say this, and I'm not gonna argue over it. I'm gonna say it, and we're just gonna leave it there, and we're gonna move on. But I think Kobe is overrated. That's all I got to say on that.
No, you don't get to just mic drop on that. Where would you put him? Is he in your top 10?
Maybe. He's maybe top 10 for me.
6 through 10.
But when people try to put him in the conversation with Jordan and LeBron, he's a far cry from those guys.
Is Kobe better than Magic?
No.
Really? Okay.
It's close, but no.
Okay.
People forget Kobe was number 2 on 3 of those championships. Like, not to poo-poo being the number 2 guy, and he has 5 rings no matter how you spin it, but he was the number 2 guy to Shaq. He was Robin to Shaq's Batman.
Is Shaq,
even though Shaq called himself Superman?
Is Shaq in your top 10?
Yes.
Shaq's kind of the guy that I think might have gotten edged out by Steph Curry for me.
Yeah, they're probably in the same class. I'd have to think about it. I'd have to sit down with a pen and paper and think about who my top 10 are. But yeah, Shaq is firmly in there. Steph Curry probably is.
Steph Curry, I think, is that like when they're talking about him, I think this might have solidified him, especially being the guy who ices it and everything. Maybe it's running off emotion, but dude, Steph Curry, that was sick. I also think it moved Kevin Durant up on my list.
See, I was just gonna say, as we sit here and talk about it, like my top 10 is getting crowded, and guys are gonna start to get bumped out because Kevin Durant is definitely in there. Magic is definitely in there. Shaq is in there. Obviously, Michael and LeBron. This is in no particular order. So
Durant's not
that's
my top 10. He's in my top 15, I would say. He might be 15.
I don't, like I said, I'd have to sit down, but those guys that I just listed off are definitely in there. I just listed off like 6 guys. So
I would have the list because like Tim Duncan is up there for me.
I'd have to put Duncan in there. And I'm just talking about, I know there are people who might be watching or listening to this. And by the way, thanks for watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify and Apple. Follow, like, rate, review, tell a friend, help us grow this thing. There are people who are listening and they're like, come on, dude, Will Chamberlain or Bill Russell or even Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I'm going like off my lifetime. All right. That's guys who I watched play season after season after season. I feel like if you're talking about guys who you haven't watched play game after game, season after season, you're talking out of your ass. Like, you can look at numbers, you can look at highlights, but they're different eras, and you don't really know what that guy was like on a night in, night out basis. I'm just talking about the guys in my lifetime, and that's the rest of those guys are probably in the same class as these guys we're talking about, but I just don't know anything. I don't know enough about them other than highlights and numbers.
Well, Kareem, Magic, and Larry are not in my lifetime, and I'm still putting them from everything that I know and have watched and everything. They're still in my top 10.
There's Larry. Magic and Larry were like, again, I'm a little older. I think I'm 9 years older than you, 8, 9 years older than. So Magic and Larry, I do remember those are the earliest memories I have of the NBA. Is MJ, Larry, Magic, those guys are. Yeah, I just had to throw Larry Bird in there. So now I got like 7 of my top 10 that I know are in there.
I'm not saying Steph Curry top 5 all time, but he's definitely. And also like this Kevin Durant run with the Olympics, and then now you're kind of looking at twilight of his career probably. I'm looking at him right now with everything he's accomplished and everything he's done throughout his entire career, along with these Olympics and everything. I'm kind of looking at him being like, yeah, you probably passed Red Bull. You probably passed like some of the greater guys that like owned a lot of records for a while.
Steph Curry might have to be in there just for the way that he sort of revolutionized the game. Like, he did the opposite thing to the game than what Will Chamberlain did. You know what I mean? Yeah. He completely changed the way not just his team plays, but the way teams around the league play for an entire era. So I get I got to put him in there for that alone, if nothing else.
But I mean, Steph Curry, the way like young people play, like the way that like you go and high schoolers and AAU guys and stuff, they can all shoot like Steph Curry. Like a lot of them, like they're all pulling up deep, like, all stopping on a dime. Like, he revolutionized, a lot of how the game is played. And especially being a guy that the NBA said, a lot of analysts said that his game wouldn't translate to the NBA. Who's going to be taking those shots? Well, now it's fucking everybody. Like, he was the first one. I mean, his shot is just, he's got 4 rings.
So I think I got 8, and I probably got Steph, including 8. So 8 of my top 10 are locked in, and Steph is one of them. I'm going to leave the other 2 spots for me to be indecisive.
All right. Well, it's Giannis and Chris Middleton. So
I gotta put Giannis. Giannis is in there, dude, and I'm not even just saying that. I'm seriously. Giannis might be in my top 10. Another discussion for another day. But speaking of the Milwaukee Bucks,
that should be like the next show. Is like, because if we're gonna like wait a couple days, I think we should mull this over and we should be like, who are in our top, or we do it right before coming into the NBA season or something.
Yeah, we can do it. We can do it coming right in. Which, by the way, is not too long away. If you can see there on the screen on the crawl. 72 days until the Bucks and 76ers tip off this coming season. Drew, are you ready for this?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited that we get a rematch of opening day last year. Pretty lame that it's not in Milwaukee this time. But
it was a rematch of last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, we got to get we get to listen to them blow Paul George or something like that. You know, well, if it doesn't work this year, you don't want to write it off right away. Fuck you. You wanted to trade Damian Lillard on December 1st. I want to hear it. I want to hear Windy. Well, you know, if it's not working, it's not gonna. Don't blame Joel Embiid. His injuries. Like,
this is one of those things that caught me off guard, though, when I saw Bucks and 76ers on October 23rd. Like, I know when the NBA season starts, but when I see that tweet from Shams and I start doing the calendar math, I'm like, oh shit, we're like 2 months out from the NBA season start.
Did you ever look up? So, like, I mean, the big thing was like the Christmas Day game. How the Bucks don't have a Christmas Day game. What do you think about that?
I have this ready for that. It's kind of bullshit. I'm not going to get too worked up about it, but it is kind of bullshit for a number of reasons. The Bucks are, as John Horst said in that article in The Athletic, like the winningest team in the NBA for a good 4 or 5 years running now. They have two of the brightest superstars in the league. They were a top 4 or 5 team in the league last year with injuries all year long. They obviously have a lot of intrigue and storylines around them with the bumps in the road that they had last year. It doesn't make sense when you look at the criteria of how the NBA picks their Christmas Day primetime teams. The only thing I can think is the Bucks have been on primetime for Christmas the last, is it 2 years or 3 years?
I think it's been 3 years.
And I don't read ratings. I don't really read ratings reports, but maybe Bucks fans didn't show up and show out. Maybe people didn't tune in to see the Bucks on Christmas. I mean, at the end of the day, it is a numbers game. You want ratings, you want money, and everything that comes with it. But that's the only thing I can come up with because they check all the other boxes for Christmas Day teams.
We only had one of the last 3 was a home game, and that was when we played against Boston, not this last year, but the year before.
No, I just mean TV ratings. Not
well, that's fine. But also, it's Christmas Day. People are watching the fucking Christmas Story on TBS, all day long, and they're spending time with their families. And the Bucks always do get hosed with the early morning game. Like, we're always like the 10 a.m. or like the 11 a.m. game.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, they have done early.
That's kind of opening presents and getting fucking brunch kind of. That's kind of that time. Like, I don't know. Like, my family, like, we do presents, like, early in the morning, I guess. But, like, early for us is, like, 9 or 10 or something.
Yeah, your family and my family are very much alike in that
it's like, we're going to pop the game on. Like, my parents are really cool and accommodating because usually what I do is I go to my parents' house for Christmas Eve and then we just raid the bourbon cellar at my dad's house and we just drink a bunch of bourbon. I sleep in the basement like I'm still in high school. And then I just I wake up in the morning in my jammies and we go upstairs and we just kind of do present time. And then we but my parents are like, all right, hey, Bucks game is going to be on. So my dad's always been really cool about fill up the bourbon. Let's watch basketball because that's what I want to do. So
I do love basketball on Christmas Day. I do. And I would like if the Bucks would be on it. But I also – did Giannis tweet something about them getting nixed from Christmas Day?
He just said no Christmas Day game with 2 crying, laughing faces. Like, that's all it was.
I think Giannis is one of those dudes who he feeds off whether or not they are. He feeds off like slights and insults and people disrespecting or just you know what I mean. So if he's pissed off about that, good. I say this is a good thing.
Did you see what I said in the group chat about what I think about the Christmas Day games? Like,
no, there were a lot of messages that day, and I couldn't keep up.
Okay, so what my stance is I think, first of all, the week of Christmas, I would say starting with the 22nd for no particular reason at all. There's nothing going on that day that I would be impartial towards December 22nd. I would say that week, the 22nd through the 25th, I would schedule a bunch of games. And it would be like sweeps week. It would be like, just give me all your best rivalries you can find. I don't necessarily care if it's like a Bucks against Celtics or something like that. But I would say Eastern Conference rivals, like Bucks Heat, Bucks Pacers, Knicks Heat, Boston Heat. Do something like that. Find your best rivalry games that you can, and then have your Christmas Day games tentative. Be like Celtics against the Knicks. well, let's just say Jalen Brunson gets hurt. Julius Randle is going to be hurt. Let's just say that, Jason Tatum or whatever, something goes wrong with his hamstring or whatever. There's you can move that game to the 24th and then slot in a Bucks against Pacers, like a Giannis versus Halliburton, this little weird.
So like what the NFL does, where you have the flex game.
Yeah, you have a flex game kind of like that, where it's it's Christmas week. I understand people travel out of town and stuff like that. But if your team is underperforming, I would say a week out or something like that. And you can go, look, refund the tickets or something like that. But we're moving this Tuesday night game to Thursday because it's Christmas or something like that. Because there are some good matchups, and I really like the idea of them. I think it was Dallas against Minnesota is the game that I have circled. We're that's one I want to watch. That's because Dallas was just in the NBA Finals, and then everyone loves Anthony Edwards. When I was at State Fair, do you know how many kids I saw wearing Team USA Anthony Edwards shirts? There were a ton. That means there are little kids that are going to their parents and asking, hey, I want an Anthony Edwards shirt, and their dad going, yup, and ordering that, and them getting that shirt in the mail while the Olympics are still going on. That's cool. That's a guy who the league is marketing. People are watching. People like that guy. So yeah, unlike what
there's a reason for that. We're starved for an American superstar.
Fine. But that doesn't mean you got to sit there and say, Anthony Edwards, go pay your dues. No, put him on TV. Let people see him. Give him the biggest audience, because people are already gravitating towards Anthony Edwards. Yeah. So you might well milk it. It's the same thing as what Stephen A. Smith said, and I hate that I agree with him, about the women's basketball team, Team USA, not putting Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese on that team. People aren't watching the WNBA for Diana Taurasi. I'm sorry. They're just not. One of our friends tweeted something about, they're like, I just looked up Diana Taurasi's career stats, and that's insane. Yeah, you know who else checked? Nobody, because nobody gave a shit. But people are watching the WNBA because of Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, and then they had the balls to not throw them on the USA roster. Even as people that would just sit on the end of the bench like Tyrese Halliburton and clap their fucking hands and have their nails look all pretty like Tyrese Halliburton did, and you just go, oh, I got a gold medal. Yeah, but you know what? Kids would buy a Team USA Angel Reese shirt. They would buy a fucking Caitlin Clark shirt. Why are you not doing this? And the NBA is doing everything right to market their young players that the WNBA just won't.
They that was kind of dropping the ball, but I don't again I'll really care all that much.
But also back
with WNBA or Olympics guy. I will say this from what I know and what I hear about, because I think you're right about the buzz of these younger players, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, the Diana Taurasi's of the world, they might be like, we were just talking about Magic and Bird, and the league made a leap with those guys as their stars. Diana Taurasi and players of that era, they might be whoever the players were in the era, the generation right before Magic and Bird, where they laid groundwork, I'm sure, you know what I mean? But nobody I guess we talk about a Dr. J, but not in the same way, you know what I mean? Or an Iceman or somebody like that, but not in the same way that we do Magic and Bird. And some of that is basketball, but also a lot of that is marketing and the genius of David Stern, who was the commissioner at that time, who understood the marketing and the expansion of the league and the exposure of the expansion to the league. So that while they deserve better, the Diana Taurasi's of the world, I think that's kind of how they'll be known. If the NBA continues with this trajectory that they have, it'll be this generation, the Caitlin Clarks and Angel Reese's, that will have taken this league to the next level and let it take that big leap. And because of that, the people of the generations previous maybe won't get the spotlight that their game deserved, per se.
Well, I'll look at even more recent, with the UFC. Look at what Dana White did. So look at how many, there were some pretty good women fighters, but they were all kind of one-note fighters, like Gina Carano, who was in Star Wars, got canceled, whatever. And then, you had Ronda Rousey, who were pretty much strikers. And they were really, they were good strikers, But then you started getting a lot of other women that started getting into the UFC that are technically better fighters. And now the women's division is like a top carded thing, like where you can get like a women's division fight that could potentially be the mainline fight in a pay-per-view. Like that's happened a lot of times. But you don't remember like a lot of that. Like Ronda Rousey was kind of one of them that you would start to remember. But there were people, like I said, Gina Carano. No one remembers how good she was. But that's like the Diana Taurasi thing of like a young league where it's like you're probably not going to be remembered. You might have all these accolades, all these wins, all this kind of, the stuff that you never really got big fanfare except for the people who are really into your sport from day one. But now it's like the people that are here to sell tickets, they're going to be the ones that are going to draw the attention. And it's going to be Clark and Angel Reese. It's just going to
be reality. All right, we should wrap this thing up pretty soon. We should also touch on some baseball before we move it along. The Brewers, after winning 5 straight, Drew, they have lost a couple in a row. One to Cincinnati, 4-3, and then to the Dodgers, 5-2. I'm not to say that it's boring, but I kind of feel like at this point, kind of waiting for the playoffs. Am I wrong? Yeah. Like you don't get too excited about wins. You don't get too upset about losses. Like you just want this team to stay healthy and be hot come October because they have a 7.5 game lead in the division with a couple 40-some games left to go. Like this, it's a waiting game now for the postseason with this Brewers team.
Well, Brian Anderson said something yesterday on the telecast that was actually kind of sobering, really, where he said, because they showed Christian Yelich just kind of talking to Bryce Terang, and he just said, he's like, you want to say that, like, you hope that he's going to come back and it'll be a great thing for Christian Yelich to come back, but it's pretty unlikely that he comes back. So, that sucks to have to really. You got to choke that one down. That blows. But like last week, so because we didn't talk at all last week, I went out to get wings with my dad, and
is that your other podcast, Wings with My Dad?
Yeah, Wings with My Dad. I went out to Wings with my dad, and the Brewers put up like 4 runs like early on the Braves, and my dad's like, "Oh, this is gonna be one of those games, right, where the Brewers blow them out 10-0." And then tomorrow they can't score a fucking run. And I'm like, all right. I was like, well, I was like, maybe the Brewers need this. We struggled a little bit against some bad teams, the Marlins and the Nationals. So maybe we got to go, the Brewers, go score 10 runs against the Braves and we'll see what happens. Bryce Terang, he's been scuffling. He needs to get a couple of hits. Joey Ortiz needs a couple of hits. And then all of a sudden, they all poured on hits. These guys are smacking the ball everywhere. And we put up 30 runs against the Braves. That was pretty funny. And then, we win the first 2 out of 3 against the Reds. And then obviously we got to go play the Dodgers, who are just an absolute buzzsaw. That's annoying. But
yeah, that's baseball.
Clayton, probably his last start in Miller Park tonight.
Probably. Yeah, you would think so.
Yeah. So
can I just say, don't look now. The Cubs are playing good baseball. I'm just gonna put that out there. Craig Counsell's boys are playing pretty good baseball right now, Drew Flaggy. And they should have won tonight to get them to the 500 mark for the first time since I don't know when, but they got screwed on what should have been called a strike. They called it a ball, and the Indians ended it, and it would have been strike 3 or out number 3. It would have been the 3rd out in the inning, and I'm sorry, I called them the Indians. The Guardians, my apologies, scored 4 runs that inning, and despite a comeback to tie things at 7 after they were down 7-1, Cubs fell to the Guardians tonight and fell 2 games under 500, but just 4 games back from the wild card, man, and winners of 7 of their last 10. They've been good since after the All-Star break.
Yeah.
Now admit this. Admit this, would you? No, just admit this. Be real with me, okay?
Yeah,
it would be fun. It would be fun. It would be fun if the Cubs came back, snatched a playoff spot, and we got a Cubs-Brewers playoff series with the whole Craig Counsell storyline intertwined into it. That would be fun. Would it not be fun?
Yeah, I guess it would be fun, but
it would be fun.
But it would be more fun. The Brewers and Cubs don't play each other again, right?
That's a good question.
It would be fun if we played each other again in like the end of September. That would be fun.
I think they might have.
Maybe there's one, but it's got to be in Chicago. It's not here. We already burned our series here.
No, I thought they had one more series, but no, they do not. They are done playing each other. That's really
Then
tough.
that's less fun.
No,
It'd
I'm
be
just saying if they see each other in October in an actual playoff series, they're not going to make noise in the division. They're not coming back on the Brewers, but they're 4 games out of the wild card. Still, I think today Fangraphs had them at like a 9.8% chance of making the playoffs, but so it's still a long shot. But if the Cubs could get in the postseason, a Cubs Brewers playoff series with all the hate for Craig Counsell right now that'd be good TV, man.
I would call it fun if, like I said, if we had to play another series against them. But we don't, because it'd be like one of those things where it's like, oh, the Brewers got to try to keep them out of the playoffs, and the Cubs are scratching back and trying to fight their way into the playoffs. So it's like, we're trying to play spoiler. We're trying to break their back. They're, trying to crawl their way back in. That would be fun. And then, maybe the Cubs win 2 out of 3. They crawl their way into the wild card, and then we got to play each other. That would, like, put a little bit of bad blood in there, and that there would be a lot of happiness. That'd be a lot of fun. Other than that, I'm like, I don't know. Like it's kind of anticlimactic. It's like the end of House of the Dragon. It's just kind of fizzled. Like,
didn't watch it. I never watched Game of Thrones, believe it or not. And the last thing I want to say, and if you have any final thoughts, throw them in there, Drew. But Caleb Williams for the gold jacket. Let's start measuring Caleb Williams for his gold jacket right now. Start working on that bust for Cam because the boy looked good. He looked real good in that preseason opener, Drew Flaggy. Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's time. Are you ready for this, Packers fans? Are you fucking ready for this? For the Bears to have a quarterback? Are you fucking ready for what's about to come?
We were ready last year.
Shut the fuck up.
We were ready for Justin Fields. Yeah, he was coming.
Eat an ass.
Freddie Peralta. Speaking of guys who I don't really particularly like watching throw a ball, I saw Dan Needles tweeted something about how it's like maybe it's time to start considering throwing him in the bullpen for like the relief. I'm like, for fucking who?
No.
Who? Joe Ross is we're pulling. We're gonna take Junis out of the fucking bullpen and make him start. What are we doing? Like,
no, there are no other options,
dude. I'm like, if Freddie can get us through 4 innings, I'm like happy. But like, dude, holy shit, is like he cannot throw a breaking pitch for a strike, and it's that man. That guy's all show no grow. That is weird. I don't like it.
But I think it's a rough patch, and I'd rather he go through the rough patch now in August with the 7.5 game lead. Yeah, I know. I think he'll be
all right. A rough patch since May.
Yeah, he's all right.
Cubs had a rough patch up until yesterday.
No, up until the All-Star break, really. They've been good since the All-Star break.
Yeah, it was like 2 weeks ago.
They might make the playoffs. It's a possibility.
Well,
and the Bears are going to win the Super Bowl this year.
Really, a quarterback's going to win the Super Bowl?
Yes, the rookie quarterback is going to win a Super Bowl. You're Flaggy. Prepare yourselves.
This is the thing that I hate about coming into the football season, because there's no other sport where fans get this goddamn delusional, like, right away.
I hope you're picking up on the hyperbole, and that I'm not really saying. I mean, I'm excited. I'm not gonna lie, I'm excited. But like the gold jacket, the Super Bowls, and all that. I mean, it's for effect, you know.
Yeah.
They're gonna be good. They're gonna be good though.
You guys got to ride or die every Sunday, and
he's gonna be very good. He's gonna be very good.
But like, dude, just I can't do it with preseason where people being like, oh, he threw fucking 7 touchdowns. It's like, I was playing.
You can ask a mutual friend of ours, Elijah Holbrook. He was he watched my dog this weekend, and he came by as the Bears preseason game was going, because I left right after it. And he will tell you I was unreasonably, irrationally excited about preseason football. And Caleb Williams was watching.
Did he tell you what he did playing basketball?
No.
He single-handedly beat me, Vegas, and fucking who else is on my? Oh, and Fezzi.
He's a big boy. Elijah Holbrook is one of those dudes.
Elijah Holbrook he went like 10 for 10 from the floor.
You know who else? I never realized he was tall. Nobody
Oh,
knows who we're talking about. But you know how
oh,
like you don't realize somebody is tall and then you get matched up with them on the basketball court. Daryl Cochran, tall
yeah,
dude.
Daryl's got massive hands.
I had no idea.
Dude, he's like a fucking spider. He's annoying. He annoyed. I seriously jump at him like he's a goddamn cookie jar on top of the fridge. Like I can't pull down rebounds off of him at all. He upsets.
Well, for the 5 people who listen who know those 2 people that we were talking about, you should enjoy the final few minutes. Drew, any last thoughts before we wrap this thing up? It's been an hour, dude. It's been an hour.
Yeah, well, it's also been like 13 days since we
That's
did one.
true. Yeah, we had a lot to catch up on. Anything else? Any last final things?
Well, yeah, I got a question. Why would you schedule a seeding game the week before the playoffs for wiffle ball if the seeding was based on record and run differential throughout the regular season anyways? Because we lost a seeding game today. We were in 4th. I don't know what the fuck that dropped us down to. We were like plus like 91 runs. I don't know what the fuck happened. We lost 2-1. I hit a home.
I'll tell you what happened. You didn't ask me to be part of the team. That's what happened.
Oh no, my cousin Joey's back, dude, and he's got like his fucked up leg is healed, I guess. They sewed his calf back on.
Care about Joey.
Well, I do. He's my cousin and he's my
I
blood.
mean, I'm glad. I should take that back. I'm glad his leg is all right, but I'm just saying, like, you could have had me on your team, Joey.
Yeah, but he's my cousin and I love him and I watched him grow up.
Oh, he's my cousin.
Yeah, I was very scared for his leg when he fucking almost lost it golfing.
Well, tell Johnny I'm glad he's feeling better.
Joey, you didn't give his name, or tell Johnny I'm proud of him. Yeah, I'm gonna tell him.
Tell Joey I'm glad he's feeling better.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like, hey, Johnny, guess what? Ronnie Markoff fucking said that you're just having a great. You got a good leg.
Well, I can't wait to find out how the seeding falls out on the next episode of Ramie and Drew. This has been episode of 64 of Ramie and Drew. I am Ramie Mackloff. That's Drew Flaggy. Follow, like, rate, review on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple, and we will talk to you again next time. Thank you.